Okay, so the moment that this episode ended, like I had to make my video because like I was sweating. I was perspiring, man. Like I was like watching it, the anxiety and anticipation of what's going to happen this first like quarter, I want to say this first quarter of this arc. Like, bro, I read it in the manga, but I'm still like very antsy and like nervous to where like I started sweating. Like I have to pace myself a little bit before I recorded this video, and like like talk about things. Like it feels, this genuinely feels, just from the way that the Wanden Reich came to like Yamamoto saying that like we declare war and everything. Just seeing that, like, just from that, I'm like, this genuinely feels like warfare. Like, even more, way more to me, way more so than like Naruto's like ninja war. Like, there's something about this from the messed up aspect of it, and like the way, like, for me, this is what I'm seeing personally between like the Stern Ritter and the Wandenreich, and then like the Soul Reapers and stuff. Like I appreciate, this is, again, this is just my perspective. Like I really appreciate Kubo being that, like, this isn't a gray area. This is like there's a lot of times where a lot of villains are gray areas and stuff like that. People try a little bit too much of like trying to like create these villains that you can sympathize with, and it's like it's just weird to me because a lot of them are in general like genocidal maniacs or serial killers and stuff like that, but they try to make them like sympathetic, like make you want to like you don't justify genocide. You can't justify genocide itself as being just, which is literally what Quincy's themselves have always done with hollows. Soul Reaper in general, Soul Reapers want to help hollows, their souls, to like reinstate them into the balance. Like the sixth, I believe he was the sixth seat that was talking to Shino and Ryunosuke in this episode. That like what occurs is that there is a balance between the world of the living and soul society with souls and everything, and that like Quincy's in general, like what happened in like at the first episode, whatever, like they have a mass genocide of like just eradicating like hollows and stuff, and he gave more in depth of like what like, because of a lot of the young Shinigami, they don't know Quincy's, they don't know what's going on because of hundreds of years ago they were supposedly eradicated, like extermination 200 years ago, like the mass extermination, the operation that the 60 we was talking about in this episode, that like for so long Soul Reapers always wanted to sit down and have like that discussion with these Quincy's, but they always refused it and stuff. Like they wanted dialogue with the Quincy's and stuff. So it's very much painting out to where it's very clearly that Quincy's are like ultimatum, like we're not having it this way. We're doing it our way, no matter what and stuff. And it seems like Soul Reapers, it seems like, because I'm not just gonna assume that like, oh, it's just a lie that what the Soul Reapers were told and stuff, because it's a story. I mean, if they're telling it, I'm gonna believe it until in the story something changes though. But like him saying that like for so long Soul Reapers wanted dialogue with Quincy's, and then Quincy's aren't like wanting to negotiate and everything, and are constantly doing what they're not supposed to do and destroy the world of the living and soul society, and it's gonna and all of the balance is gonna completely crumble down and everything. Like what else are the Soul Reapers gonna do if they have time and time again wanted to discuss things with Quincy's about not eradicating souls in general in hollows. What else are they gonna do? Like, obviously, they would have to take out the Quincy's in that way, which in general is for the betterment of the entire just Bleach universe itself or whatever. So seeing like that discussion with that sixth seat character like talking to Shino and talking to Ryunosuke was really cool. I really liked it, really enjoyed it, like getting the specifics of what is going on and everything about like, you know, Quincy's and Soul Reapers, that like they have no choice but to like fight each other. And it's like they kind of do have a choice if they just like stop being like so like, for some Quincy's just feel like they're so aggressive like all the time for some reason. I don't know. But like just to hear that discussion and then like hearing what he said, the 60 guy talking to Shino and them talking about how even if there's like one side or the other, it's going to be either self-defense or conquest, and regardless of what side you're on, both sides are going to end. I understand if he said end up feeling just with what they're doing, but but literally the Quincy's are trying to do a mass genocide on not only like the Soul Reapers, but obviously the Hollows. Like I feel like that's the only just way of like, you know, about like eradicating like an entire like, I want to say like species or something like that. Like the Soul Reapers had nothing else but to take them, or to seemingly take all of the Quincy's out because of them trying to kill off so many hollows and stuff, like genocide and everything. Like what else are they gonna do? So like hearing them talking about that, and then him saying that like it was both sides are just, I disagree completely. Oh yeah, and that guy who was talking to Shino and Ryunosuke before the whole invasion like happened, like something that didn't really make sense to me really was that him saying that like war comes from like I believe two sides being just or just or something like that's not really like war in general comes from greed and ignorance. That's where it technically comes from. Blind, like purposefully blind, like ignorance and greed for things. Those are what stir up wars. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, moving on. Because a lot of these Quincy's, like nothing horrific has ever happened to them that involved like these Soul Reapers and stuff like that, and like they're blindly following this king, Yuak, who, you know, I'm not gonna say anything else, but like, you know, clearly doesn't give a shit about any of his people and stuff. He's straight up evil. He's 100% evil. I don't care what anybody says, trying their best to justify like him. He's evil. I love his character. He's probably up there like right next to Aizen as a favorite Bleach villain and everything, obviously. So he's awesome, but in that regard, as a villain, he's awesome. But as a person, or like, no, like you don't justify that stuff. So hearing that whole discussion happen and everything was really good. Now let's get into something that I love, which I believe was in the manga as well, was that when Ichigo was fighting, what's his name? I don't even have the paper. It's like, I forgot how to say his name. Kilji, OPA or whatever his name is, the Quincy that's there in Hueco Mundo, and Ichigo's there and he's fighting him and stuff. Oh, it's absolutely stunning and beautiful. I love everything about it. When he goes into his Volstandig and everything, like fantastic. And then Ion seeing Ion again, and then like the three beasts who are under like Haribel, like Apache and Mila Rose and Sunsun and everything, like, or I believe his name is Sunsun, right? All three of them. seeing Ion again and just like literally wailing on like this dude on this Quincy was so amazing to watch. So good. And I loved the whole episode of like, Ichigo not even going into his Bankai yet until he knows exactly what is going on, like, and everything, like trying to understand his Volstandic ability, like Quincy ability, understanding that like it's obviously different from like what he talked about to Ichigo, in that like Ishida's like family, you could say clan or whatever, like, or like his family kind of like defected away from like the evolution of like the other Quincy's about 200 years ago, and like talking about that was like really cool. And then actually going back and forth to something that was not in the manga, was Uryu researching about what's going on in this entirety of like everything happening, like Huecamundo and Soul Society stuff in the world of the living and things like that. Seeing like him, seeing Abern in, I believe that was the first episode, right? Like seeing him and him being like, who is that? That guy definitely looks like a Quincy. So like seeing him like doing a lot of that research that we didn't get to see in the manga was really, really cool, and something that like I honestly was needed for like Uryu, because of what happens like later on in the arc and everything. So that was like really cool to see. And I don't know what's up with Ryukin saying this, constantly saying that like this has nothing to do with you and stuff like that. I'm like, aren't you his father? Like, dude, like, and they're definitely there's definitely a massive like distance between Uryu and Ryukin in terms of like father son. Like there's such a, like, he never says dad or father or something or anything like that. He just says his name. Like that's all he says, like, is his name. Excuse me. Without saying like anything like father or anything like that. So that's very interesting. And like it's very interesting also that Ryukin at the same time says that like you're not going to find any information here. So then Uryu is like, wait a minute, you said anything here? So then he goes to his office, like Ryukin's office, and finds like the information that like I believe his master was his grandpa, right? I believe Uryu. I gotta rewatch or reread and stuff, but like just hearing him like his mention again and seeing like his old, it seems like his old like journal like writings and stuff like that that has like the information of like what happened like 200 years ago, probably with like the family and stuff like that, and them pretty much like defecting away from like the other like Quincy's in general. Like seeing that was like really cool. That entire thing was just like, it was really awesome to see like really Uryu getting that like that type of like that amount of time and moment that we didn't see in the manga. Like that was anime only, like canon, in canon filler, that was really cool that we finally got to see and everything. So that was really cool. The fight with like like Ichigo versus the Quincy, like that whole fight in Huecamundo was awesome. I love the animation and like the style of like the Volstandig like look to it, but also like just their Reishi like look also and whatnot. And just to see Apache Milirose and Sunsun like fighting him with Ion, which was just nasty, like straight up just grabs him and just bashing him like back and forth and stuff like that. And it looked like his neck was broken, but he got up like it was nothing. Like first of all, stabbed Apache. I think she's probably still alive though. Because I mean, like Orihime is there. I mean, she wouldn't just let that person die, regardless if like that person like hated her or something. I don't know, but like seeing that, but also at the same time, everybody's like Reishi is being taken from them and being absorbed in the Quincy's like ability and whatnot, like the complete subjugation of Reishi and everything. And immediately Ichigo knew what was going on and broke the halo shaped like Reishi ring that was above his head. Like Ichigo is he's just so confident now, but also like very observant with what's going on, and to see this animated and see that animated and everything, and see like the clash with the giant explosion in the background was just fantastic. And the little bit of like tiny comedy with Kisuke like carrying Don de Chaka, or I believe that's his name, which was really funny and stuff. But seeing that the beginning of that fight is really great, and then the beginning of the invasion, like the beginning of that was terrifying, but also like Mayuri telling them about what's going on. It's like Quincy's, and the most probable like assumption is that like Quincy's are going to like invade. They're back and whatnot. So like they're talking about how like like they said, the Wandenreich said in 5 days time we're going to attack and everything. So it's like, but also which was really cool to hear was that like, you know, Yamamoto and them are like, hey, we obviously shouldn't take them like into like account with what they say and stuff. They obviously invaded us. They could probably do it any second now, any time or whatever. So they got to prepare like immediately. And it didn't exactly help with preparing. Like it still is going to be mayhem, and like even though I read the manga, it's still terrifying to think about still, and heartbreaking stuff. And contrary to a lot of people who read the manga and everything, I love the next 3/4 or 3/4 of this arc, more so than actually this first quarter, which is I would say the first quarter is the invasion, but then after that is like I loved everything after that and everything. I think it's just because of how like, you know, like my anxiety going up, and like me sweating like constantly, like oh my gosh, like this is like genuine, this is a war, like people be dropping like flies in the most effed up ways, the most fucked up ways, bro. Like I'm kind of ready for it, but also like I'm more ready for like, you know, beyond the first invasion and stuff. And like I'm excited to see what's going on. And I also loved the interaction with Mayuri and Yamamoto, and Mayuri being like so aggressive with Yamamoto, which I did not expect like at all. That like him saying like you should have killed that man 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and he's specifically, obviously, talking about Yuok, and like hearing Mayuri being like, the moment that Uryu, that Quincy came into Soul Society as the Ryoka, like he already had plans, or like already surmounted that like this was going to happen. This was inevitable. It was inevitable that this shit was going to happen, and you should have killed this man 1,000 years ago. You should have killed Yuok 1,000 years ago, and you did not. Like hearing Mayuri saying that stuff and being so aggressive with Yamamoto, when like, you know, Mayuri, like the moment that happened with Uryu and everything from like the first season, and like, you know, this during the Soul Society arc, when he came with like Ichigo and all of them, and like Mayuri immediately after that gave his like, you know, advice on the situation of what's going to happen and what's probably going to happen, and it's happening right now, like the actual invasion, stuff like that, and him being so aggressive with Yamamoto, I'm like, damn, he's kind of right. Like, and Yamamoto, which I like, is that he didn't get insanely overheated with Mayuri in general, with Mayuri talking to him, because he kind of knows that like, yeah, this is something that I've sown. This is something that I should have dealt with 1,000 years ago. And Yamamoto probably in this moment, is kind of regretting him letting that person live, letting Yuok live. So it's like, now, which is kind of like messed up, because Yamamoto let him live out of I believe it was like out of like consideration of him or sympathy or whatever, and then he comes back and attacks Soul Society. Like, You don't want to be considerate about like what Yamamoto did for you, man, my dude. Like, come on now. Like he let you live, and he like that's at least some sort of sympathy or whatever, like compassion, some sort of compassion. So that whole interaction between Mayuri and Yamamoto in that moment of like this shit was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen, and I gave and I advised you about it and stuff like that, and like Mayura being so aggressive about like you should have killed him 1,000 years ago. You know you should have, and Yamamoto knows it. That's why he's not being so he's not being so aggressive towards Mayuri, right? So that was like a very intense moment that was like really like well done, on top of like everything else that happened in the episode and everything. And then like, oh my gosh, when Basby comes in and like takes out like when those giant reishi, like those blue flaming pillars of reishi come in, like what the hell's going on? And then Basby just comes in and just bashes like these three like characters that like I believe it was like the third or like the fourth, fifth, and sixth seat, or the third, fifth, and sixth seat or something like that, of like the squad. I forgot what squad it was. Squad 9, or something like that. But like it, like they even gave us like the names of them and their release forms of their Zanpakutos. But then Basby just like bashes two of their heads in, and then just blows up one of the other guy's head right clean off, like it disappears or something, like in blood. Like, bro, oh, this is truly a bloody warfare, and I don't know if I'm exactly ready or here for this first invasion, because there's gonna be a lot of sad shit, fucked up shit, so much shit that happens that I'm just like, am I really ready for it? I don't know. Like I'm sweating over, like still, like I'm still sweating like a little bit. It was just like on top of also like the music being played, like I believe, I forgot what it was. Was it Invasion, or was it Precipice of Defeat? I think it was still playing a little bit in the background when Ichigo was fighting like in Hueco Mundo against the Quincy dude, like fighting him. And then oh my gosh, and then him absorbing Ion and everything, like bro, Mila Rose knew exactly what to do, like picked up her buddies, picked up her friends, and got the hell out of there. And then like him absorbing all the reishi and stuff and becoming like an ugly looking like monster, like that absorbed like part of Ion and everything, like that. But even then, Ichigo then goes Bankai, because now he starts to he analyzed everything of what's going on, and immediately broke that reishi like halo ring above that dude's, like that. My dude, he immediately knew like subjugation of reishi won't work if I break that, huh? And then he breaks it and everything. Like, yo, Ichigo's fire, dude. Like we all know this, but Ichigo's pretty fire, dude. Like it's I feel like these sets of chapters that are animated, I kind of like, I'm liking them like a little bit more than when I read them, because I think it's just the add-on of like the dialogue and like the voice actors along with like the music. It was like like when Basby came in, bro, like like what like, oh my gosh, the creepiness of the music and everything. It's gonna be so good. I honestly, I'm ready for this invasion and stuff. I'm ready for Bambietta, Bambi, the babes. Like, oh, she's gonna be good. There's gonna be so many good fights, like in the first invasion. But there's a few there. It's gonna be like kind of like pretty sad and stuff. And I'm excited to see all of that stuff. I'm excited to see even beyond this first invasion. I'm ready for it all. I'm ready for Ichigo to clap this Quincy and Hueco Mundo, easily clap him and get the hell out, and everything is gonna be so freaking good. It's gonna be a good time. I love it. I'm excited and everything for like the next episode is gonna be, oh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be action packed of like Ichigo fighting in Hueco Mundo, and then the invasion happening, the first invasion happening in the Soul Society, and it's gonna be like simultaneous stuff. Oh, it's simultaneous stuff. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so good. But again, episode 3 of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. So good so far. What did you guys think about? Oh, and also Orihime coming in clutch, like, you know, catching Nell and everything and healing everybody was just like, you know, those Arankar girls that she keeps healing like all the time and helping out. Those ladies better finally be like so happy and kind to Orihime after everything that they put through the Arankar arc, and then also this arc, like her constantly trying to heal them. Like, bro, they better be so insanely kind-hearted to her when they wake up, if we see them woken up and whatnot. So, yeah, again, if you like this episode, anything I had to say, or if you like Bleach in general, leave a like and comment down below. Also, about the episode, things that I said and whatnot. How are you liking the arc so far in the anime? Even if you read the manga in the anime so far, how much are you liking? Leave down in the comments your thoughts about, you know, the episode or the arc so far and whatnot. And just Bleach in general. And everything I had to say. And subscribe to the channel for more reviews, vlogs, unboxings, live reactions, theory discussion videos, and things like that. So, gentlemen, stay classy. Ladies, stay sassy. But most important, everybody got to stay a little nasty. All right, so peace and love. And I will see y'all later in the next video. Peace out. May the force be with you always. Plus, ultra, locked home. And Mike, bro, Yoak is straight. Like, majority of Quincy's seem to be straight evil. I don't care what anybody says. It's black and white in this regard to me personally, and Yoak being like a literal psychopathic, like dictator type of character. He ain't your majesty. He is a psychopathic dictator like king. And him saying like he doesn't like conflict, he hates conflicts. Like, a lot of the Quincy's in general got some screws loose or something. Like, I don't like conflicts, but I'm gonna make I'm gonna have a mass genocide happen and going on or whatever. Like, I'm gonna eradicate entire races and whatnot. But I don't like conflict. Oh gosh, like the way he speaks sometimes is like is a joke to me, and it's hilarious to me. But anyways, peace and love, and I'll see y'all guys later with the next episode afterthoughts type of recap video. Peace out, and I'll see you guys later.